Good morning. I'm Rashawn Gidwani, and you are watching the Daily Morning Note. It's Monday, the 13th of February, 2023. In today's trade of the day, Phillips Security Research has a buy on Digital Core REIT. Our buy price is 0.625 US dollars. The stop loss is 0.590 US dollars. And you can take profit at 0.665 US dollars and 0.720 US dollars. The current price is 0.625 US dollars. Singapore shares ended the week largely unchanged as investors took stock of inflation levels and the possibility of future rate hikes by the U.S. Federal Reserve. The Straits Times Index finished Friday's trading session with a marginal gain of 0.04% or 1.21 points to 3,360.69. Petroleum-linked shares rallied Friday with oil prices as U.S. stocks closed out a lackluster week with a mixed session. The gains by producers like Chevron and Halliburton, as well as other oil services companies, came after Russia announced it would trim production by 500,000 barrels per day in March after Western countries imposed a price cap over the Ukraine conflict. The rally in energy stocks helped lift both the Dow and S&P 500 to positive sessions even as higher Treasury bond yields weighed on the Nasdaq. DBS fourth quarter 2022 results beat expectations with net profit of 2.34 billion Singapore dollars versus our estimate of 2.02 billion Singapore dollars. Bulk of the beat was from stronger than expected net interest income of 3.28 billion Singapore dollars, up 53% year on year, and net interest margin growth to 2.05%, up 62 BPS year on year. The board of directors of Sembcorp Marine on Saturday defended the company's management personnel, among other things, in response to an extensive list of queries from the Securities Investors Association of Singapore, or SIAS, regarding the company's highly anticipated proposed merger with Keppel Offshore and Marine. SIAS had questioned if Sem Marine's board had critically reviewed the performance of its management in the past 2 to 5 years. Thai Beverage, or Thai Bev, has reported an EBITDA of 13.53 billion baht for the first quarter of financial year 2023 ended December 31st, 2022, which is down 7.7% year on year. The lower EBITDA was due to the lower EBITDA across the group's segments: spirits, beer, non-alcoholic beverage, and food. Thomson Medical Group has reported earnings of $22.8 million for the first half of financial year 2023 ended December 31st, 2022, 82.6% higher than the earnings of 12.5 million Singapore dollars in the same period the year before. Earnings per share, or EPS, rose to 8.6 cents from the previous period's 4.7 cents on a fully diluted basis. The manager of EC World REIT on Sunday said it has released a portion of its margin deposit, or an aggregate of roughly 198.9 million yuan, from escrow and utilized the amount to partially repay the outstanding mandatory repayment of its offshore and onshore bank loans. LHN has agreed to buy GSM Building in a collective sale for $80 million with an eye to convert some of the space in this commercial building along Middle Road into serviced apartments as part of its broader expansion into this market. The property at 141 Middle Road has a total land area of 1,115.1 square meters with a tenure of 99 years commencing from May 2nd, 1978. RE&S Holdings has reported earnings of $5.55 million in its first half of financial year 2023 ended December, 61.7% higher compared to the previous corresponding period. Revenue grew by 23.5% year on year for the first half of financial year 2023 to $88 million from $71.2 million in the first half of financial year 2022, primarily due to higher contribution from both full-service restaurants and quick-service restaurants, convenience, and others segments. Group revenue of mainboard-listed Yoma Strategic for the quarter ended December 31st, 2022 rose year on year by 76% to $35.9 million US dollars from $20.4 million US dollars. Top-line growth was driven by contributions from the real estate development segment, where revenue grew 96.5% to 16.7 million US dollars from 8.5 million US dollars in the 3 months ended December 2021. Oil prices rose more than 2% on Friday and posted weekly gains of over 8% as Russia announced plans to reduce oil production in March by 500,000 barrels per day, or about 5% of output, said Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak after the West imposed price caps on the country's crude and fuel. General Motors, or GM, signed a deal with Global Foundries to lock up production capacity for semiconductors, helping the automaker manage a chip shortage that has hindered auto production for several years. Global Foundries, or GF, a provider of made-to-order semiconductors, will set aside capacity at its New York plant exclusively for chips destined for GM vehicles. China's biggest chipmaker, Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corp., or SMIC, posted record revenue in 2022 despite ongoing U.S. sanctions, but warned of a more difficult year ahead given a slump in the semiconductor industry. SMIC said Thursday that 2022 revenue totaled $7.2 billion, up 34% year-on-year, while its gross margin stood at a record 38%. Ford Motor has cut its stake in struggling EV maker Rivian Automotive to 1.15% a week after the Detroit automaker reported a fall in profit and predicted a tough year ahead. Shares of Rivian, which declined to comment on the matter, were down 3.6% in early trade. Expedia Group executives gave an optimistic outlook for travel demand in the current quarter, reassuring investors after the company's fourth quarter results were weaker than expected. Lodging gross bookings grew 20% in January compared with 2019, Chief Financial Officer Julie Whalen said. ByteDance Limited, the China-based owner of TikTok, is starting to snare market share in the virtual reality headset space that Meta Platforms Inc. has identified as critical to its future. 2 years ago, ByteDance bought Pico, a Chinese startup that makes VR headsets. Pico's headset shipments have since jumped, turning it into a small but fast-rising number 2 to Meta in the global market, according to industry data, even though Pico doesn't sell its consumer headsets in the US. In our research section, Phillip Security research analyst Paul Chu downgrades Thai beverage to accumulate with a target price of 0.80 Singapore dollars. The last close was 0.70 Singapore dollars. For SGX, analyst Glenn Thum maintains his buy recommendation with a target price of 11.71 Singapore dollars. It was last done at 9.20 Singapore dollars. That's all for today. For financial news, tune in weekdays at 8:30 a.m. live on YouTube and Facebook. Please like and subscribe for more. See you again and have a great day.